And today my adventure begins right here in the great state of Georgia. I'm here at the Taylor Bros Express gas station. And we're going to have a little fun today. We're going to do some small town stuff. Well, good morning, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitch Hiking Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today on this very, unfortunately, overcast day. That's kind of a bummer. A lot of storms rolled through here last night. I actually stayed in Augusta last night and at a True Hilton. It was really a great experience. I slept very good last night and the coffee's pretty good too. But today we're going to make our way south, hit some small towns. The first town we're going to come to is called Waynesboro. And then there's another town just past that called Millen. I want to check out those small communities and kind of see what they look like, see what's happening, learn a little bit about their history while we're there. And then also we're going to venture and find other little roadside relics along our way. All that being said, I'm ready. If you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. It's going to be a good one, baby. We're in Georgia. And as I continue driving down Highway 25 South, right here at mile marker 19, there is a Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket on a pole, very reminiscent to the 1980s Kentucky Fried Chicken signage you would see at the restaurant. But the weird thing is, there is no Kentucky Fried Chicken anywhere to be found right here in this area as I kind of turn around. Yeah, that's pretty weird, isn't it? Okay, as you see the Kentucky Fried Chicken sign there off in the distance here on this property, they have some other relics here close by. They have an old tractor, possibly dating back to the 60s or early 70s. And then they have something that really stands out. They actually have a great white shark just sitting out here on some tires. Maybe it was a sign at one time. I do notice it has like these little like hanging hoops on the top of the shark. But I thought this was kind of interesting. Not every day you're just driving down the road, nowhere near the beach or anything, and you see kind of a great white shark sitting out here. I know what everybody's thinking. You're getting those Jaws vibes right now, aren't you? Yeah, I wonder if they named this one Bruce also. And the Bruce reference is actually the name of the mechanical shark in the very first Jaws movie. It was actually called Bruce, so that's what I meant by that. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, I'm back on 25 South. Next stop is going to be Waynesboro. Okay, and welcome to Burke County, Georgia. I am here in Waynesboro. Population in this town is 5,670, and the median age is 29.2. Man, that's pretty young. That's healthy. And right here next to this Chevron gas station is this old brick structure, abandoned. And I'm seeing quite a lot of abandonment here in Waynesboro. This is a very large building right here. Can only guess what this used to be at one time. Had a really nice overhang, like pull-in area. Whatever it was, maybe we can walk up here along the glass windows and get an idea. Maybe not. They have pretty much removed everything from whatever this was. So one reason I wanted to start the vlog off today here, as we see this beautiful clock tower right here in the middle of town, is because Waynesboro is one of the oldest communities in Georgia and serves as the county seat of Burke County. Burke County was one of the original 8 counties created when Georgia was still a British colony. The town was officially laid out in 1783, shortly after the American Revolution, and named after Revolutionary War hero Anthony Wayne, better known as Mad Anthony Wayne. Waynesboro began as a small agricultural and trading town along important travel routes here in eastern Georgia. Early settlers farmed cotton and other crops, and the town became a center for commerce and government here in the region. The original town lots were once an acre each and sold by commissioners appointed by the Georgia legislature. And I gotta say, look at this awesome Coca-Cola mural right here on the side of this building. That is beautiful. Love it, ice cold. There is nothing better than a good ice cold Coca-Cola in my opinion. Just my thought. One of the most famous historical moments connected to Waynesboro happened in 1791 when George Washington traveled through Georgia during his southern tour and spent the night here in town. And this here is the historical marker talking about just that very piece of history. During the Civil War, Waynesboro saw military action during Sherman's march to the sea. On December 4th, 1864, the Battle of Waynesboro was fought nearby. Union cavalry under General Kilpatrick defeated Confederate cavalry led by General Wheeler, helped clear the path for Sherman's advance toward Savannah. After the war, Waynesboro rebuilt itself around farming and railroads, small businesses. By the early 1900s, Burke County became nationally known for bird dog field trails and its hunting culture here in the area. Because of this tradition, Waynesboro earned the nickname the bird dog capital of the world. And matter of fact, look at this mural right here. Right here at Good Day Cafe, right here on the side, we have a mural that actually states that little bit of history. So people that don't know probably don't even know why they call it Waynesboro, Georgia, bird dog capital. But now me and you both know why they call it the bird dog capital. Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, so right here next to the Waynesboro Emporium is, I think, the City Hall. And the City Hall looks to have been renovated in 2021. As you can see right here, it says City of Waynesboro. And then we have an information placard right up here. It says City of Waynesboro, City Hall renovation of 2021. And there is a boatload of no-see-ums out here today. I am not kidding you. And I like it right here. He even calls it the bird dog capital of the world. Okay, next up, let's talk about demographics. Demographics here in Waynesboro looks like this. 26.5% is white, 69.78% is black, and 3.72% is mixed race. Then we're going to take a look at the income index. The income per capita here is $27,538, which is quite a bit lower than Georgia and the national averages. The median household income is $59,084. Once again, it comes short of Georgia's $74,934 and the national $81,333. Scroll down just a little bit more and look at the poverty level here is pretty high, 32.4%. Wow. Then we're going to take a quick look at crime. Even though the poverty level is pretty high here, the crime is not that bad. It is right on par with Georgia and the national average. Okay, so before we leave Waynesboro, kind of wanted to drive around and look at some of the homes since the poverty level was so high, just to kind of get an idea of what everything looks like. I have noticed there's a little abandonment here and there, but there is some really nice properties like this brick home here. And then it looks like we got some renovations going on here at this address. So it is going to be, it looks like a mixed bag. Wow. Look at this place. It looks like it is in very, very rough condition. And check out this old Coca-Cola sign here in town. It's at this old store. Look at that. It's called the Tire Shop. Brown's Tire Shop. That is awesome. Look at this beautiful home right here, this white house. That is nice. Love it. It's got that old southern look to it. And I gotta say, there is a lot of stuff going on at this address. look at this home. You can barely even see it. Nature has retaken it over. Even the front door is open. That is crazy. All right, I'm leaving Waynesboro now, back on Highway 25 South, headed toward the small town of Millen. Okay, I've made my way about a half a mile off of US 25, right along these railroad tracks here is an old abandoned store. And this is one creepy looking place right here. Looks like it might have been maybe a grocery store at one time, possibly. So cinder block building. Still has bars over the windows. My goodness. And I'm gonna tell you something. The no-see-ums are out in force today. Possibly because of all the rain that kind of came through here last night, the storm. Look at all that in there. Some old recliners. Some shelving. Right there's an old box van rusted out down there on the ground. And unfortunately, I do not see any kind of old ghost signs or anything on this building. I did look on Google Maps and went back a ways, and it used to have some signage on it, but it looks like it's either been removed or maybe it's just got rotten and fell off the building or whatnot. But this was just a quick stop I wanted to make. And while we leave this area, back over here in these woods, when I drive by, I'm going to show you one of the creepiest little cabins I have ever seen. And it is like being taken back over by nature. Let's continue on. Yeah, right here is the cabin I was talking about, y'all. Check that out. That is creepy to the 10 right there. See how the trees are just grown right up against the side of that place? I mean, that's somebody's family home, or, you know, from way back when. Okay, I've made my way about 2 more miles down US 25 South now. And I pulled off on this little side road. And I'm in Jenkins County now. And this here is the small community called Perkins. And this here is the old train depot known as Perkins Station. This was part of the Central of Georgia Railway way back in the 1880s. What a cool piece of history that's been taken care of and sits right here along the railroad tracks here in Jenkins County. How cool is this? And right across the railroad track from the depot is this old grocery store. Look at this relic. That tin roof, the front porch. That is awesome. That old Coca-Cola sign over here. Howard's Grocer. Yeah, this is pretty awesome. I'm gonna walk down here toward the end. It looks like we have a church or something on the back side of the old grocery store. It's called Grace Community Church. Nice. Yeah, this is pretty dang cool. They're definitely taking care of this place. No rotting pieces of wood or anything. And they still have Sunday worship at 11 a.m. and Wednesday grace and lace. Don't know what that is. Can't really read at the time. It's actually fallen off or something, but that's cool. Look at that old bell up there. Yeah, it's really neat. And right across the road, you can find this single wide trailer, which they have turned that into the United States Post Office here in Perkins, Georgia. Zip code 30822. Yeah, it's been a nice little stop here. All right, I just made my way into the town of Millen. Look at that beautiful house. That is really, really nice. That's what I think of when I see Georgia. Look at that one. That is so pretty. They might need to trim the bushes a little bit on that one, but it's still a very nice wraparound porch. Now just one street over, the houses definitely took a change of how they look now. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Okay, I've made my way down here to the downtown area. So I'm going to formally welcome you now to the city of Millen, Georgia. Established in 1881, historic downtown area. And one thing I can tell you, there's quite a bit of abandonment already. Matter of fact, this here used to be Brooks Chevrolet Company right here. Maybe this was some type of a dealership at one time. To get into some of the numbers right away, here in the town of Millen, population is 2,880. You wouldn't know that by looking at the streets. That's for sure. It's very empty out here for the most part. Median age is 48. So let's get into Millen's backstory. Millen is pretty much a small town here in eastern Georgia with deep railroad roots and history tied closely to farming, transportation, and the timber industry. It serves as the county seat of Jenkins County. The town was founded in the 1850s as a railroad junction when the Central of Georgia Railway and the Augusta-Savannah Railroads crossed here into the area. Because trains from several directions met here, Millen quickly became an important transportation hub for eastern Georgia. The town was originally called 79, referring to the mile marker from Savannah on the railroad line. So during the 1800s and the early 1900s, Millen became known for cotton shipping, lumber and turpentine production, railroad repair and maintenance work, trade for surrounding farming communities. So one thing that's very interesting about the town of Millen is it has two train depots here. One depot was for freight and the other one was for passengers. And from what I can tell, the one right here over my shoulder was the one for freight. The passenger depot is a little bit further down, and we're going to walk down there and check that out here shortly. Now, because so many passengers and trains stopped here in Millen, it once had a busy depot area filled with travelers, restaurants, and boarding houses. Not to mention, we had the town bank right here, and right down here we have a theater. It's called PAL. Okay, I've made my way over here across the street to take a little bit closer look at the old bank. It actually says Bank of Millen right there. I was reading online, it says, according to the local historical records, the bank operated from its original downtown location from 1893 to 1954. And strangely enough, right here next to the Bank of Millen, this old building actually has those exact years printed on it. So are these both connected in some way? Is this the bank and they just built this next to it? That's so odd that they put those exact dates on this building. It's almost like this was the original bank. But it doesn't say Bank of Millen on it. And right now there's just a lot of stuff in there. It's a lot of storage area. I don't know. You guys live in this area and you have a little backstory about, is this the actual Bank of Millen and this is something else and this just so happens to have those dates imprinted on it like that? Huh, interesting. And this here is the PAL Theater here in Millen. This is pretty dang cool. The old PAL Theater was opened in 1940 and it could seat 454 people. The style was art, not deco, but they call it art modern. And they have the little marquees out here. Right over here is the ticket booth window. That is really cool. Love it. Love old retro stuff like that. Now, I've always liked these like little glass blocky looking things. I don't even think it's really glass, but is it? I don't know. That's pretty solid, whatever it is. It's not plastic, I don't believe. Take a little look inside. People are actually working in there. They're doing maybe some renovations or something. And right around the corner from the Powell Theater is this very beautiful mural here, showing some trains passing here in the distance. Really, really neat. City of Millen, Magnolia Springs State Park. Okay, so this right here is called the Old Freight Depot, Millen, Georgia. This is pretty awesome. One of the town's most notable historical landmarks here in Millen is the historic depot. The depot reflects the era when rail travel dominated the South. Today, that houses the Millen-Jenkins County Museum, which contains railroad artifacts, local history exhibits, and displays about rural Georgia life. This is cool. Look at this old relic right here, this vehicle. Old Ford fire truck. Yeah, that is pretty cool. There it is. Millen Fire Department, 1929. So when I first got into town, I thought this was going to be the passenger depot because it was on the side of where the town is, like the street side. And the other one right here in front of us, I thought that depot was going to be for freight. And it's not. That is the passenger depot right there. And maybe that does make a little bit more sense now, because when I was walking up through town, there is some steps leading off the sidewalk, street side, that leads down, right down here, where you can actually walk across to the depot. So you would actually have to walk across the railroad tracks just to get over to the passenger depot. That's interesting. So that is the passenger depot. And right here behind me, the old museum, which is not open at the moment, not yet anyway. This here is the freight museum, here street side. Pretty cool. All right, next up, let's look at demographics. 48.16% is white, 47.34% is black, 4.39% is American Indian, and 0.11% is mixed race. Then we look at income index. Income per capita here in Millen is $23,932. Median household income, one of my favorite stats, is $42,993. That is quite a bit below the Georgia at $74,934 and the national at $81,333. Let's scroll down a bit. Look at the poverty level here in Millen. That's pretty high, 37%. That is well above Georgia's 17.8 and the national at 15.1. Then we look at crime. Crime here is not too bad. Look at that. Only 1.5 per 1,000 people will experience a crime here in Millen, Georgia. All right, my friends, I think that is going to pretty much wrap it up for me today on my vlog. Had a good time driving down, hitting some of these back roads, these little small communities here in eastern Georgia. I've never really made many videos in Georgia, but I'm going to change that. I'm going to spend a little bit more time coming to Georgia every once in a while, hitting some small communities, doing some small town stuff. I find it very interesting. And all that being said, I'm done today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, friends, I'm the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you in my next adventure. Y'all stay safe. I hope to see you all again soon. Give you one last shot of the old depot here. This here was not the freight depot. This was actually where the people would ride. This here was the passenger depot. This here was the steps that I was looking at earlier. I was thinking, yeah, man, this is where people used to walk down, and I guess they just walked across the tracks back in the day. Who knows? And crossed in there and bought a ticket. Train come by and scoop them up and take them wherever they need to go. Pretty cool.